is the beat.
Function, pumping and dumping, manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
Hello everyone out there on the interwebs. As my hair keeps getting more insane, just give us a minute, simply because there's a delay, and I know we're super late today. Trust me, by the time the incent reward happens, which is a cool way to earn cryptocurrency while you watch this stream, I will talk about how that happened, because it was for the dumbest reason. I just want to make sure the audio is coming in. If you can hear me and you're in chat, please let me know in chat. Otherwise, I'm going to learn in a moment if everything is going on. Also, I'll explain why I'm not wearing any glasses. Okay, so it seems like everything is finally working. All right, so hi everyone out there on the interwebs. Welcome to the DEFCON 201 live stream. I am known as Sidepocket on the interwebs. I'm one of the two co-founders. And now phlegm starts forming in my mouth, so hydration squad. I am one of the two co-founders of a group that's called DEFCON 201, or DCG, or DC 201. We are a subset of the DEFCON Groups organization. If you've never heard of DEFCON, it's a ginormous hacking convention that normally happens in Las Vegas in the same way we normally meet every third Friday of the month physically, but due to, giant pandemic going around, people licking each other's buttholes and doorknobs and it lasting for a year instead of a month, we've been live streaming all this stuff, just like how DEFCON was virtual last year and might be virtual this year. But if you want to know more about us and what we do in our upcoming meetup, which will be this 19th, which will actually be our 3-year anniversary, 4! See, I'm still getting used to this. 4-year anniversary and stuff. You can see at the bottom of our page here, but I also posted in chat. This is the link to our website, which is defcon201.org. We're also all over the place in terms of social media. We are on defcon201nj, my Twitter, which is huge, but we're also defcon201 on Instagram and GitHub, which if you're on Twitch, you can scroll below and see our repo that you can preview, because this is going to be very relevant for today's episode and on the Hostucks.social instance of Mastodon and other things. And if you want to see a master list of that, I just posted a link tree in chat that will bring you to that master list. Lastly, we're streaming from multiple different sources tonight, so if you like the content that you're going to see tonight, and I hope you do, because I did do a good amount of prep for this, and I'm going to go crazy this episode. You can hit that bell, click like, share, and subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. If you also send us lemons on DLive or bits on Twitch or whatever, that'd be much appreciated, and we get notifications for those and cheer people on, especially if you're on DLive, which we normally give out a bunch of lemons for during CryptoBarons and sometimes during our main meeting, but especially during CryptoBarons. So if you stay tuned, we will be dropping a bunch of lemons in the treasure chest. If you notice above me, and I should have put this on the DLive headline because I normally do and I forgot, there is a follower goal above, and that is for DLive. So we're trying to reach 100 followers, particularly on DLive. It's DLIVE.tv. When we do, we qualify for a status called Cryptocurrency Superstar, and that will allow us to do not only a lot more with CryptoBarons on DLive, but with our DLive channel in general. So while we appreciate you following us on everything, if you are on DLive or you know someone who is, let them know to just follow us. It's completely free. It gives you also notifications when we come on live stream, and it'll help us reach our goal. If you are watching from the Facebooks, aka the Facebooks out there, there is a way to chat with us, but you have to use like a whole workaround system, which I think is going to be the summary of today's episode, is workaround systems, and that is the link I posted in chat to the Facebook guide. So, what is this show? Why am I late? And what are we going to be talking about tonight? Well, this show is called CryptoBarons. As you can tell from the title, this is one of my 2 shows. This happens every second and fourth Saturday of every month. And this month is the anniversary month for us, so I'm really excited. I can't wait for next Friday. It's going to be really relaxed. Cool things are going to happen. And this is the show where, if you probably have looked up cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, you probably find a lot of things on the finance situation and how to invest and mining and non-fungible, which we're going to get into in a moment, and, atomic swaps, like all this sort of financial and community stuff, and like a lot of Elon Musk smoking pot TED Talk ideas, but not a lot on the actual technology these cryptocurrencies are based on and how these blockchains are put together. In fact, our first episode, we coded a blockchain live. This feels like the unintended sequel to that episode of what we're going to do today. And that's what we look at CryptoBarons. We try to type and run code. We try to run test nets. These are all sorts of cool things that we currently try to do. So, 2 more housekeeping things, if you probably haven't noticed. One, why am I late? And I also just realized something that I'm going to double check right now as I talk about this, and hopefully this won't crap out the stream here. So I had everything completely ready to go. I had, my blockchain here, my actual physical blockchain that is on load from us from GI Jack. I had all the tabs go up. I had most of my script together, like the little notes that I do. And I went to, which I'm glad I did, I went to update and recheck all the tools. And one of the tools broke. And I did the first stupid thing, which is I tried to fix it myself. That didn't work. So I called in residential quilted picker-upper Cerasil, and he looked at it, and basically the tool had a boo-boo when it came to trying to understand Windows. It thought Windows operated because that's what we're streaming from one way, and it turns out it operated another way, and in a couple of clicks it actually ended up working, and that was a lot of time wasted, and I apologize for starting late. Sometimes we're maybe like 3 to 5 minutes late, but we normally don't start that late. That was a kerfuffle on my end. I stupidly thought, just, load up, just do a bunch of commands and a bunch of double clicks and it'll run. And then this tool just completely goddamn broke, and I had like no idea why. And I was trying to do alternatives and they weren't working. And so, long story short, thank you, Siricel, for making this episode finally happen. And the second quick thing for repeated viewers of the show is you're probably wondering, by the way, if you are viewing, I love talking to the comments. So if you can't hear me, or if I'm too loud, or you want me to re-go over a topic, or you want to ask about today's subject, more clarification on what I'm doing, why my hair is such a mess, why I'm wearing an actual physical blockchain here around my neck, type it in chat. I love to read this sort of stuff. Otherwise, as I always say, keep lurking, keep learning. But for fans who have come back on the show and have noticed recently on DC201, you're probably wondering why I look like Mr. Magoo right now. So just warning, this entire episode I'm going to be like squinting a lot, I guess. I maybe not, but that's what it feels like to me. And normally I wear these like awesome granny glasses, and you're probably wondering why I don't have them. Well, basically, I had to quickly run to pick up something from the post office, and I didn't realize that my glasses slipped out of my pocket. And if you haven't seen the way people drive in Jersey City, which is 201, that's where we're located, we have a saying around here that goes, there is no traffic laws, there's just traffic suggestions. So when I finally found my glasses, because I'm nearsighted and I couldn't see distances, in the middle of the road about half an hour later, basically glasses versus 20 cars. I think we all know who wins that, and this is basically what was left of those glasses. So I don't know how long this is going to last, and thankfully it doesn't impair me too much, but you're going to be seeing me glassesless for a while here until I get new glasses, in which I'll make a big announcement and everything for that. So I just wanted to get confusion of why is he not wearing his usual crazy, his smart-looking dork glasses, and the smart-looking dork glasses basically went FUBAR, RIP, snafu, all of that. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. So, what are we talking about in today's episode of Crypto Barons? Well, funny you should say that, because this is how crazy this week's been. Originally, I had a completely different topic for today that I was already prepared for and still prepared for. In fact, the topic that we're going to do, we're doing next month in April. So that the topic we were going to originally do today, that again, second and fourth Sunday of every month, that will be on April 10th. And I've already have the script for that and everything loaded and fine. Then, which sometimes happens on this show, which doesn't happen on Master of Unlocking, a giant news thing happened, and I had to sit here and go, okay, do I do the topic that I was going to do, or do I switch over to this topic? Both topics are going to be big pain in the asses for me. And it's a real test of my skill level and lack of competence and whatever. But I decided, you know what? The one I was going to do today can wait. That, again, will happen April 10th. And there's going to be a really cool episode that I'm going to tease at the end that will be the next episode of Crypto Barons, which will be on the 27th, that I can't wait to do. It's going to be the coolest crypto, non-crypto thing I've ever done on this show. But let's stop being around the bush. So what are we talking about today? Well, you probably have seen on the interwebs of these things called NFTs. And no, it's not another NAT standard or routing protocol, thank God. Although it's almost as bad. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, which, to be honest, as the new Incent reward comes up, by the way, if you download the Incent app, it has a little URL there, and you either put in the code that pops up or the or scan the QR code with your phone, you get a little bit of cryptocurrency called Incent. We don't get kickbacks up from this. It's just a cool free thing, and when you collect enough Incent, you can actually then trade and cash out for it for real money. So it's just a cool way for you to actually earn cryptocurrency on Crypto Barons while you watch DEFCON 201 stuff. So that's just neat. Anyhow, Non-fungible tokens is a word that I'm not surprised that confuses people, because fungible sounds like a word that came from the Harry Potter books. It's like, oh, Neville, lost his remember all again because he couldn't remember the non-fungible spell. It's like that type of a word, and nobody knows what it means, because in the cryptocurrency world, no one explains what anything means. I'm not surprised that I'm actually not surprised that there's a lot of LGBTQ people involved in cryptocurrency, because it's like the same thing. If you're in either of those things, there's a ton of terms that make no sense and no one explains you what the heck they are. And that's why we're here. I'm going to go over what NFTs are, what the different terms mean, like fungible. And we're going to go on a short break because I need to, and we're going to pray to the demo gods that never work because they hate me. And we are going to actually make our own NFT locally here using a bunch of different resources on using the Ethereum framework. Okay, so that's what we're gonna get into. So we're gonna go to the let me just double check here. We're gonna go to the browser screen right now, because this is where most of the magic's gonna happen tonight, and most of my frustration's gonna be. So here we go. Okay, so this is our website, which again, as I pointed out before, is defcon21.org. Siricel once again also made this. It's really amazing. You'll notice that it's not currently January. We're going to be updating the website really shortly, because we have all the details pretty much for what we're going to be doing on our meeting on the 19th. And I also want to get out of the way that we are going to be updating it during the course of the week. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be really casual. You can actually come in and directly interact with us with audio and video for this meeting. There'll be a lot of cool people and cool topics and stuff being shown and discussed. Very casual, relaxed, it's a perfect meeting, honestly, if you're kind of more introverted. And to note, we're going to announce those details Sunday afternoon. Okay, so just getting that out of the way. But so now that that's out of the way, let's get into what all of this craziness is. So NFTs, you probably have heard them everywhere. And this is a good example of these two. And you're wondering, what is an NFT? Well, like I said earlier, it's called a non-fungible token. What the heck does that even mean? Well, let's define what fungibility means. And it's actually, for real, and I'm going to try to zoom as much as I can, really, really, really super simple, okay? So it gets more complicated than this, but just picture this, right? And you can see kind of the visual aid here. It's really simple. We're going to go to a slightly complex visual aid in a moment. Fungibility means how a representation of wealth is represented. And I know that sounds like a bunch of bullshit, but hear me out. And particularly what fungibility means is, what is the cost-value relation to the representation of that wealth. So let's see. I don't have an individual one in my pocket. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get up. Give me one. Oh wait, do I have one here? Yeah, actually, I have one here. Okay, so it's probably a little blurry, but this is obviously a United States quarter. It's one of those weird intermediate ones between the old Eagle stuff and now the Pokemon-like collectible back stuff. This was like the early 2000s, if I correctly. This was, yeah, this is that commemorative thing. Yep. So this is a quarter. Now, the quarter, if I remember correctly, is fungible. Most fiat, if not all fiat currencies that you are aware of, are fungible. Same thing, although it has to be specified with a lot of different cryptocurrencies. What this means is that, and you're probably very familiar with this, you didn't even know this, the value of the quarter can actually change over time. And particularly, it also relates to the goods and services that are valued, so those prices will also change in response all the time. You probably remember that, like, way back when, again, we used to trade gold, and then the actual dollar bills were supposed to be a IOU representation of the amount of gold either you personally had, or in terms of public money or federal money, was balanced against the actual gold reserve in Fort Knox. And then we invented the concept of credit, which, think of it as like ye old cryptocurrency before cryptocurrency, a completely non-physical abstract thing, and it went out of control and we got away from the gold standard. Well, even though we got away from the gold standard, our tokens, our dollar bills and stuff are fungible. as well as most currencies. This is why, for example, to put it this way, you have like, let's say milk, and like milk, you know, is supposed to be like in our head. Let's just say it's like $8, you know, like some sort of value. The number of value is supposed to be 8. Well, you probably have heard in fiat currencies where like our currency is kind of mostly solid, although it's been going down the drain due to obvious reasons. You know, last 4 years, and so ours is kind of less so. But Canada, for example, let's say their loonie or whatever Canadian bucks are stronger. So even though there is a 1 loonie and a $1 or like a 1 Canadian dollar, $1 US, due to its fungibility, the value concept of it can change over time. So that's why, for example, the United States, that milk probably is consistently 8 of the United States dollars, but maybe in Canada, where it's stronger, that like it might be $10 or $12. That's the fundability. So even though their dollar system is divided similar to ours, 1, 5, 10, etc., the value of everything around it can change, you know? And that's sort of the best way I can at this time. And if anyone has any comments, let me know, or you want me to clarify any more about the fungibility. That means each token is similar. So again, in money, $1 is $1. $1 does not turn into $5 or $3 or 50 cents or whatever. This is also, for example, that's why usually the products around it change. Like Zimbabwe, 1 Zimbabwean dollar was 1 Zimbabwean dollar, but their market, and thus their fungibility, went so far down the toilet, you needed multiple of those dollars in order to equal something of the value, hence like the wheelbarrows of money. Also see the Great Depression that happened with the German marks and to some degree the United States dollar. That's what that means. And so, for example, while a Bitcoin value can change, 1 Bitcoin is usually equal to, if I remember correctly, 1 Bitcoin. This is why we also have Satoshis. That's why as Bitcoin skyrocketed past the moon and into Alpha Centauri, we had to rely on the Satoshi divides, you know, essentially our versions of pocket change, because the value of the market around the 1 token went AWOL. I hope this makes kind of some sort of sense. So on the reverse end, we have non-fungible, which is represented by that trophy. And what that means is this is a self-subscribed value in which the value can change. So, for example, a trophy could be worth like $12 and be really cheap, or maybe that material it's made out of becomes rare and is now worth $200. There's also an amount of personal wealth and like the demand for the thing, you know, and that's what they mean by non-fungible. And this is going to become really important when you start seeing what NFTs or non-fungible tokens, what are they going to represent? Because we're not trying to replicate money where $1 is $1, $5 is $5, $10 is $10. What we're trying to replicate is sort of, again, the value of market items, the way of how like a PlayStation 4 when it came out was $399, but now thanks to the new PlayStation 5 and cheaper components and how common PlayStation 4s are, you can pick one up for like $1.99, $2.49, something like that, nearly like more than half of its value. And that's what we mean by that. This is also the non-fungibility of something is also how auction systems work. Where again, if it was fungible, there would be no auctioning off. It would just be like, this is worth 5. And that's all you would hear. Because it would literally be worth that and it wouldn't change. But, you know, when we do that, you hear the whole voice, all that sort of stuff. That is because they're trying to figure out the non-fungibility of the value of everyone in the room. And of course, that thing they're auctioning is based on what everyone is willing to put forward, and whatever is the highest price listed by the person at the end of the auction is technically the value of that object. Which is why you don't normally, which, by the way, there are exceptions. So, for example, you can find coins that might, for example, like the coin itself might only equal like 1 of the coin, like where it's worth, like let's say a $5 coin, it would technically be $5, but because of the material it's printed on, or maybe they made a mistake in printing it, or they don't mint this type of coin anymore, the actual non-fungible value of this is way more than its fungible value. There's a lot of gray lines there when it comes to that. The other thing that we also have to factor in is intangible versus tangible, which, again, is even more simple. So as you can see here with the fungible and non-fungible, you have fungible, like for example, cryptocurrency tokens are fungible, as well as like credits usually are fungible. One credit equals one credit. Now, the value system for how much you can buy with those credits might change, but the credit itself or the Bitcoin doesn't technically change. And then you have, again, like they said here, like non-fungible stuff, which is, again, more abstract thing. We're going to get into that CryptoKitty in a moment. But a good example that they list here with an intangible, non-fungible thing, that's like the exact opposite of an intangible, non-fungible, intangible, fungible thing, is, for example, copyright. How much is something worth? Maybe a movie came out and it wasn't received that well, so its perceived IP asset, right? Again, it's not an actual currency. You can't buy stuff in movies, no matter what the Pirate Bay tells you. Not saying we're for or against Pirate Bay. We're just stating the facts here. But, that thing maybe was in less demand. But then let's say, like, there's a resurgence like the way 80s themes are, and now this thing's more in demand. So because of its non-fungibility, its value actually changed over time. So while this movie may have been no one care and people are handing out for free, now people are charging out the ass for it with those fungible currencies. And this, again, is intangible. This is something that, like, you have to conceptualize. It's like things like love and fear, where there's different interpretations, and thus our value system, might change. You don't have it kind of physically, hence it's intangible. Tangible stuff, like for example, not fungible tangible stuff, even though its overall value does change. For example, there's gold and oil. Again, there's a little bit of gray lines there. And then tangible stuff would be physical things like a house or a painting or a mail order bride or something. So this is. I hope everyone gets the terms now. Again, if anyone has any questions or want me to re-go over terms, or you thought maybe I said something wrong and you want to clarify it better than I can, please do so in chat. Otherwise, as I always say, keep lurking and keep learning, right? So now that we know the difference, now that we know what fungible means and the difference between something that's fungible and non-fungible, what are these supposed non-fungible tokens? Well, again, it's exactly what it sounds. They're non-fungible, but where they're intangible, they exist on a blockchain market. And funny enough, we actually covered this before. So a couple episodes back, we covered, this is probably the episode that keeps on giving, is when we covered Xeronet, correct? Xeronet is a cool way of, like, basically exploring the dark web. It's a dark web network, truly decentralized network that uses blockchain technology to user ID people while still keeping them anonymous, right? And what we talked about is that came to be because, again, when we talked about our first episode when we were actually building a blockchain, well, most blocks have as their data just the hashes that denote what block they are and then their previous block. You can put any piece of data in the blocks. And this is where the concept of blockchain or cryptocurrency burning came from, which is you take a normal blockchain and you take that coin and you burn it, meaning you erase. You still keep the hash data, but the actual data where it says, I am a Bitcoin, you get rid of. It essentially kind of becomes worthless. But now that it's blank, you can put anything in there. And so one concept, which we showed on the episode, the Owner's Library, and again, you could go look at that episode after the stream, is they made a thing called the Owner's Library, where what they did was they burnt Satoshis in a Bitcoin, right? So it's still on the blockchain, but it now doesn't recognize it as an actual Bitcoin, and instead put in files for different ebooks and text files as an archive. And he was showing the concept of you can use a blockchain and use this as its data instead of just value money currency hashes. You can put anything in there. You can put books, movies, documents, other cryptographic things like public keys and private keys, etc. And have that work. Blockchain is not just limited to finance, and that's kind of where Xeronet and Namecoin and these other things sort of came from, where you can put anything in those blocks. And this is how we get to what are called NFTs. NFT essentially is a chain or a fork of a chain or a part of an existing chain, just as long as it's on a blockchain, where the block itself has a unique hash. Basically, you usually have two, not only to denote that they're on the chain, but what sort of thing on the internet it represents. So a common one, as you can see here, we're going to look at a bunch of common ones and kind of the history of them, is art. It's no lie that, and this is something we're looking later this year, that we were supposed to do a ton of in-person, like physical, like mini cons last year, starting in May or April or May, and then we all know what happened. Well, I don't want to wear a mask. Oh, why am I dead and everyone else is dead around me, and all of that stupidity. So we didn't get to do them. But now that it seems like after May, things are going to, and again, we're going to monitor the situation closely. We're going to revisit some of those old ideas. And one of them, I hope to do this later, like in the winter this year, but maybe early next year, we wanted to do a hacking art show where we showed off like various things from that are either side effects they turned into art, or archive, like archive stuff where people built things stupidly, but then over time, kind of like the way like Egyptian like pottery and stuff became art, even though that wasn't art to them, or like full-blown actual artistic integrity using various hacker technologies, such as projection, computer code, metalworking, circuitry, and of course, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. And there's a big thing about art and cryptocurrency where not only can you create art using blockchains, but the key here and what makes artists interested in blockchain check is that you can use the blockchain itself to figure out either who made the art and or who owns the art. This is normally done with ledgers and copy, like physical personal ledgers for the artists and the business people and the person who bought the art, and copyrights, and then there's a disagreement and it goes in the courts. With a blockchain system, you can put in a hash of where it's located and either the direct file or a cryptographic key that is paired with the file of the piece of art that you own, and it will tell you in that block, this is the artist who made it, and here's the proof, and here's the person who they sold the art to who now technically owns it. Here's the proof. And thus there's no confusion, because with the way blockchains verify themselves, where they each have a hash previous chain, and provided that nothing is compromised, see our previous episode about scams and hacking of how that can happen. But for the most part with chains, they're not really maybe now more now, but a lot of them are not really seen as compromised. So that's like a good way, at least a base way, of having integrity with who has made art and who sells art and who owns art in the art world, without having to go through really complicated legal processes and he said, she said, and stuff like that. So instead of artists like having to physically sign their work like they've done in the past, and even then people a lot of times don't know who owned what after certain time periods, see a lot of Renaissance art, this is the new digital way of like having a good chance to know who did a piece of art and who owns it. And most of the non-fungible tokens are that. They are modified cryptocurrency tokens. A lot of times they're either using a split chain or their own blockchain, where that chain is dedicated to the storing of the values, proofs, and hashes to these different things. And again, it can be anything. It can be an image, it can be a video, it can be text. The most common one is art, but we're going to look at a couple of them now of what we've seen. And let's start out with some of the two earlier ones outside of the ownerless library concept that was shown at Hope here. So one of the first ones that you're probably familiar with, and we're going to actually feature on a future episode, is CryptoKitties. This is cats run the internet. So crypto, internet, cats, combine, CryptoKitties. Ta-da! And so think of CryptoKitties kind of like a blockchain cryptocurrency version of Pokemon, where you can basically, there's these different cats that are generated. They each have their own images with their own parameters. If you want to know how kind of CryptoKitties work, see our previous episode and this is going to tie into this, where we used Solidity to make like our own zombie pen, and you can see how we like randomize the zombie images between its eyes and stuff like that. And when they're generated, you can go and you can buy with Ethereum, because Ethereum is like the best method to do this, although there's going to be others, and there are others like Polkadot and things like that. But CryptoKitties and what we're going to do today is going to be on a version of Ethereum, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, basically you have a list of cats, or you can generate a cat, and then you buy that cat, and now it's stored on the Ethereum blockchain, and it says, this is this cat, and this person owns this cat, because you can see the public transaction and the hashes that link to this wallet and this particular online cat. And it's been a really fun game. You can play this in browser or mobile. You just, on browser, you need to have an extension like MetaMask, which is something we're going to hopefully use today. On mobile, you can use dedicated or integrated Web3 browsers, which is going to be a future episode we're going to get into, such as Opera or Status and things like that. As you can see here, you have like different kitties here, and let's check some out here. So here's the Where Kitty. It's going to load here. And you can see there's like different hash numbers that represent that kitty, and I don't know if we can click and buy these, but if it's already bought, we should be able to. Let's look at this confused boy with a crown here. If it's bought, we could still see Flufferton Sternbuckle. There we go. That is a cat owner AF cat type of name, right? And they also have, like, apparently they've also coded in the on the chain stuff little features and stuff. You can add or take off little attributes, and what's really neat about CryptoKitties is that they're generated from previous CryptoKitties. So like you can see here, this one loads. This was one CryptoKitty, and then here's the other CryptoKitty, and then when someone generated, whether it's the developers or the person, a new, God, these names. Don't ever call me this, by the way. This is like a bad way to pick hacker handles. But when it generated this new CryptoKitty, it actually used those two on the chain and paired them together, and that's what generated the look and hash for this CryptoKitty. And each one, again, is uniquely ID'd as this particular CryptoKitty, and you can go and buy them. Or as a lot of people say, especially early Ethereum, this was a great way to clog up your Ethereum wallet. Because again, it's on the chain. We're going to kind of get into how you can actually put it on the Ethereum chain in a moment. But this is one of the early examples. Ooh, I leaned too far back. That was a pain. Another early common one is CryptoPunks. So CryptoPunks was, they made 10,000 unique of these like little like 8-bit caricatures as pieces of art. And you could early on either give them away. They gave a bunch away for free. I like this one with the black man with the top hat and the VR shades. Kind of looks like that Star Trek Next Generation character as like a jazz singer or something. What was his name? Lordy or something? I can't remember his name because I can't think right now. But because I'm thinking of all the programming we're about to do in a moment and crossing my fingers. And then, of course, bootleg. You have Monkey, and then like bootleg. Black Widow Scarlett Johansson over here. But anyhow, and so you had all this art, and they also auction these off. There's a whole marketplace where you download MetaMask and you kind of configure it there, and you can own, and there's like different categories here. You have for sale, bids. So these ones that I clicked on, you can get for sale, and this is a generated one. And you can search for individual ones. So it's very similar to CryptoKitties, except unlike CryptoKitties, which is sort of like a fun-ish game, this was more of like a test for like actual art. So these were sort of the two here. So fun thing also, because NFTs have now skyrocketed in the past couple of months, I would say starting around like October, November, probably October. I remember when like CryptoPunks were like barely half an Ethereum. Now it's, you don't want to look at the numbers, especially converting to fiat. I know that there's a CryptoKitty that a lot of CryptoKitties now are sold for hundreds, even tens, even hundreds, thousands of dollars. And we're going to get into a specific example with another application. But as I said, NFTs, particularly its implementation, have exploded recently. So you have, for example, Audis, which is a way for, you ever heard of SoundCloud? Well, this is a way, essentially, this is SoundCloud, but instead of forking over a crap ton of information about yourself and then like the DMCA bots like troll you and everything. This is a way to upload your music as an artist and have your music and albums individually ID'd with a blockchain system. And this is really, and some there's you can see there's some popular. The only one I recognize is Dead Mouse. I don't know any of these others. Maybe the Stafford Brothers I've heard pieces of. But anyhow, now obviously we're not going to play any music because Twitch and DMCA's. But this is really, really cool because this is basically a way to have a DMCA-like system, a way to be like, this artist was the one who made this music and this is the rights for it and stuff without having the super government, super over-regulated that slants to really corporateocracy levels of that sort of ownership that you see now with DMCAs and music copyright. Put it this way, if Metallica used a system like Otis instead of lobbying for DMCA against Napster back then, they would have not hilariously, and you should go check this out after the stream, got DMCA themselves when they were playing their own music on Twitch. So this is what we mean by that. It's like to me, it's like the right balance between having content creators, in this case musicians, know which songs and albums that they made and retain that sort of ownership without going into overzealotry into like crazy IP stuff that companies like the Walt Disney Corporation and stuff like and also like music labels will try to extrapolate, which is funny. I actually brought up of Walt Disney because I will tell you right now that one of the anniversary, the one main talk you're going to hear at our 4-year anniversary, 4 fucking years. I don't want to get your username just floated off, but thanks for the 3 happy face. I'm just going to call you the I don't want to Getty. But thank you for those. Again, if anyone has any questions, if I'm going too fast or if I'm too loud or you can't hear me or you want to shout out something cool like the 3 smiley faces that I don't want to gee posted, you're more welcome to do so. Otherwise, keep lurking, keep learning. And also, if you like the content you've seen so far, you can hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, and YouTube. I get notifications for those. I cheer people on. Again, especially on DLive. We're trying to get to 100 followers. And not only do you get instant rewards during Crypto Barons, but near the end, if you're on DLive, stay tuned. I'm going to drop, once again, some treasure on y'all, and then we're going to go rate a stream. That's going to be the episode. But we're barely one-third of the way there, so let's continue with this. The reason I said Walt Disney Corporation is that I'm actually going to do a talk I've been wanting to do a while, a virtual updated version of a talk I gave about 2 years ago when we could actually meet in person for DEFCON meetings about the Walt Disney Corporation. I am going to talk about how they've basically hacked copyright to the point where they're having trouble with the same copyright laws that they've made. And again, stuff like Otis is a way to, again, have that sort of integrity for the art and projects that you made without going into stupid territory. And also, again, it's on a decentralized chain, so you can't have like the music industry barreling in and try to point directions because the chain runs. They can't do it. If they complain to the NSA goes, boo-hoo, crocodile tears. We can't really do much about it. Or I'll be a pain in the ass to do so. Now, here's the funny thing. There are exchanges for non-fungible tokens or NFTs, and one of them is the Chills exchange. Now, unfortunately, because America in particular is really... Here's the weird part about America, right? All Americans do is we talk about blockchain, and you see a lot of, Elon Musk smoking pot people who are all Americans about blockchain, but because of both the fiat markets, our own infrastructure, and just general stupidity on the internet, again, pot smoking Elon Musk, we are really far behind with crypto stuff. Particularly, not even China, it's Western Europe is really far ahead on this. And so, unfortunately, because of the different, cryptocurrency, it's not even that there's laws against cryptocurrency in the United States, it's more of that because there's no laws, no one wants to, as the Philadelphia mascot says, fuck around and find out. We end up with stuff like this, which we've encountered on Crypto Barons before, where they're like, I'll zoom in here so you can read this properly, which is we're sorry that chills.net no longer provides crypto trading in your country region due to local regulatory requirements for the crypto industry. Thank you for supporting and understanding. So yeah, there is absolutely no way. I just want to answer a question here. So I'm just going to call you SSH because I'm going to be terrible with English. So I apologize if I get your username wrong. Could you please give the YouTube channel again? Will this session be recorded and available? Yes, it is. You are watching on Twitch right now. As we upload Twitch videos, and roughly for a month, if it's on there, you can find it on Twitch. Like immediately afterwards, you can watch it again. However, your best bet right now is to go to our YouTube, and I'm gonna step away from the program a bit, and I'm gonna post our link tree again, which has our YouTube. So not only can you watch us live on YouTube, but all our shows are auto-archived on YouTube forever unless the DMCA Copyright Millennial Act anal law does something. We are working right now on also archiving this stuff on the Internet Archive, which we have a couple of videos up for, and also on that link tree, which you can also view both live stream and archived, starting like roughly a month ago. We're going to backlog a lot of these. You can also watch us on PeerTube, which is a great decentralized peer-to-peer way of watching our videos. So you can go and find our YouTube and PeerTube, and right there on Linktree. A proper Internet Archive is coming soon. So that hopefully, I hope that answers your question, SSH. So anyhow, again, because of regulatory stuff, there's apparently no way us lowly Americans can view chills.net, you know. There's no way on this hacking show. You know, this DEFCON, it has the name DEFCON in it. 201. There's no way in hell we should be able to see this. And one of the main problems, as I experimented a while back, is that you can't really run VMs while you're live streaming, right? But what we can do instead, if it can switch here. Did you switch over properly? Maybe I have to reload the thing here. Let me find out. I had this working before. Hang on, let me just hit the reload button. Maybe I shouldn't have done that whole blah 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 thing earlier. Let's just look at the list of programs. Ah, here it is. There we go. The way you get around this, if you can't run a VPN, is you run it through Tor. Because Tor, for those of you unfamiliar and who didn't see our episode in October about cryptocurrencies that have security functions and are on the dark web, like after the stream you should check those two out. Tor is a way of routing through the internet where not only can you view a lot of websites safely, and it basically is like a super VPN if you want to look at it that way. This is super simplified because I know there's a lot of Tor people who are going to be sharpening their knives and try to kill me when I say that, but most VPNs only do one jump for a route, like they'll put you from the US to like Hong Kong. Tor will route you through 3, and because of its onion routing system, each node doesn't normally know what the other node where it was previously. It just knows that it needs to funnel it to a next node, and so it's just like a blind trading system up a minimum 3 times. So you get basically VPN results, but better, and it doesn't disrupt your internet flow. And you can also visit custom websites like on the .onion, which we do have a landing page for. But this, now that we're viewing it as I'm curious now. What do we? It's not. Oh, wrong thing. Let's go back. I'm curious now about what it thinks we're in the Netherlands. So the Netherlands is a place where you can actually use this exchange because they actually have like proper crypto laws there. But yeah, so this is one of the exchanges that if you're an American, you can go to maybe something like the Tor browser and run it because they don't want to service our country because our country sucks. But this is an exchange where for all different non-fungible token types and the different materials it represents, you can go and find people who want to trade these tokens and also trade buy these non-fungible tokens that represent different things for certain cryptocurrency, things like that. They have their own iOS app and Android app. They apparently have a spin-off site, things like that. Just thought I would want to show that off. Let's switch. Let's go back to the our normally scheduled program here. Yeah, there we go. The censored one. And let's continue on. And then, by the way, what we're going to do here, you're not going to stare at this white screen forever. Again, I'm going to go on a short break. I have to refresh my nodes and scream into a void for a while so I don't do this on air. And then we're going to go directly in the coding. So stick around. Hopefully everything will go right. But let's go on. So as we said, started off with crypto kitties and crypto punks is sort of a concept, but now they've exploded and there's a lot of new markets for this. So again, you have like audio artists being able to turn their music into ownership using non-fungible tokens. You have exchanges that do exactly that. If you remember, which we're going to revisit at some point, and we might stream on here in the future, we're still debating about it because we're already on DLive, but we did an episode where we covered social media and entertainment media using blockchain. A big one that we talked about is the ThetaNet. This is an older network. Basically, put it like this: it's Twitch. Ooh, they're going to have a new mainnet soon. That'd be a cool thing to test in the future. Think of it as Twitch TV. So there's a lot of gamers, and I think there's some non-gaming topics on there. But think of it as Twitch TV, but they're essentially using non-fungible tokens to tax the bandwidth. So you're not doing any sort of fiat money exchange and stuff. You earn theta as you stream because it's counting the bandwidth and it's turning those into non-fungible tokens. And it also uses that non-fungible token system in order to, thetas itself are fungible. It uses the non-fungible system to also ID its users on the chain. And this is no small thing, too. They're supported by Samsung. They have networks all over the United States to back up the chain. They're on all these sort of different, you can even download the base client version. Again, Google, Sony, Samsung, Binance, blockchain.com, Gumi, covered by all sorts of crazy news people, tech and non-tech. This is a big thing, and this is an example of how fungible tokens such as Theta and non-fungible, which is the Theta network, can work together to ID users as well as offer a payment system that is not pure fiat where you're signing 8 million contracts on Twitch. The one you probably know of the most and will make you laugh the hardest, and I thought I had the article up here, but maybe I moved it somewhere else. Let me just look for one moment here. Oh well, let's just jump to this. So this is the NBA Top Shot. This is possibly the best, stupidest thing I could think of. Okay, so you know how back in the day you had like baseball cards? You know, like super back in the day, like if you were like a phone freak in the 60s or whatever, you could, I wish we had this for phones, but you could collect, you know, baseball cards that had like your favorite player and their stats on them, and they're like chewing chew and holding their crotch and thinking about beating their wife later or being racist against black people. You know, baseball. So they used to have those, and we technically have those today with horrible things like NBA 2K with like the FUT or the FIFA Ultimate Team system, which, you know, again, if you somehow think cryptocurrency is skeevy, and it can be and is, go look at EA's microtransactions, especially the FIFA Ultimate Team in the recent news. Holy crap, it almost compares to the actual FIFA organization in blackmailing and mafiaship. So the NBA, because the NBA is weird in that they're like always on top of the game of like new tech stuff. They've experimented with VR when they first came out, drones, all sorts of stuff. So the new thing that they've come up is this thing called NBA Top Shot. And it's in beta, and what it is it works like the old baseball cards, or if maybe you're younger like Malaya, like me, Pokemon cards, which I'm actually shocked Pokemon hasn't done this yet, back in the day, where you can to get commemorative pictures, or, which is the more common thing, as you can see here, commemorative videos. So they have they're using the whole NBA video archive from like early when they actually formed that ABA and we're actually streaming to now, and have got every single highlight from every single play of every game, and it's on their own blockchain. They're using, if I remember correctly, the same Ethereum system we're going to use, and they are ID'd that they are owned but copyrighted by the NBA, and then when it gets rewritten on the chain, it updates to the owner of that clip. So even though you can view these clips, they're not taking them off the internet or whatever, anyone can view these clips of past games and current games and future games. If you want to, it's so stupid and weird. If you want to essentially, as they call it in the antiques market, own a piece of history, you can digitally by owning the clips of your favorite moves done by your favorite NBA stars. And this is important, honestly, because, again, we started off with hackers and artists just farting around. You know, we can collect like we can generate and collect stupid cats and like trade cats and like we made a bunch. And I'm not saying these projects are dumb. I'm just saying this how it started off with, like, you know, we'll make a bunch of ASCII pixel art and like, you know, people can trade and sell them like they're real artwork. So we went from this, which were just done like they paid for their own bandwidth, they coded their own chains, nothing, to the frickin' NBA using their own blockchain system, which is why a lot of times, particularly in the recent past, when you hear like Chase Bank and stuff be like, we don't think of crypto, it's like, every other business supports it. In fact, what's really hilarious about banking for real is that Bank of America and Chase and stuff basically talk about shitting on cryptocurrency, and then it got leaked out that they're working on their own fungible, non-decentralized cryptocurrency blockchains and cryptocurrency systems to make digital cash that represents fiat cash. And that's why you don't hear them making fun of cryptocurrencies anymore, because they were essentially dissing. It's kind of like the current conservative parties in the United States and the UK. They kept dissing the thing while in the background secretly doing the thing more than the thing they're criticizing. Does that make sense? So that's kind of why this is important. This is also important because I don't know, and you also notice even the visual language. Even though these are digital videos, they make it look like they're in like foils, like they're like baseball cards and Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you can unwrap. Certified ballers, I guess that's like we've just redone the new term. And then soon you can have your own app to show this stuff off. Let's look at the pack page, because what's weird is like I don't. Oh, here it is. So here's another reason why this is important, because you want to know how NFTs have really skyrocketed. Check this out. See this awesome honky MFer with the mustache, and again, remember what we say about CryptoKitties. Notice CryptoKitties, we've gone from CryptoKitties to a guy holding a. Let me do that again. CryptoKitties to a guy holding a cat. Cats run the internet. So this guy named Michael Levy bought a couple of these digital video clip trading cards for $175,000, which he thought was a lot, and his friends thought was a lot at the time. But he's like, you know what? This looks like it's going to take off. I've seen a lot of people make new accounts. I actually have some money from my shitty IT job. I'm just going to take this chunk that was in like half of my life savings and throw it on there, and worst comes to worst, I've wasted money on worse things. That was, I think, back in October, if I remember correctly. Yeah, October. He just sold, I think, all 6 of his video clips for $20 million. So within the span of 3 or 4 months, his seemingly high, which you'd have to be high to do this, $175,000 of their 6 videos of like the top. These were like the cream of the crop clips, and he got them as non-fungible tokens. He's cashed in, and now he's a multi-millionaire. And it's not just him. There's people who have done lower like finance numbers, and I promise this is the last we're going to talk about finances. Lower finances than that, and have cashed out big on just the NBA thing. As I said, because of this has gone a cascading effect. So even little icons like the original CryptoPunks and the CryptoKitties have been being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars just this week. It's absolutely ridiculous of how much this took off, which is why I wanted to change the conversation to this. So, to recap, we kind of explained here about fungibility. That fungibility is like, think of like money, and again, there's loopholes in this and variations. It's not strictly black and white. Nothing is. It's tech and hacking. You know, that's why gray hat hackers rule supreme, or clear hackers, as sometimes I like to call them. But you know, money itself physically is a fungible token. One coin will equal one of that coin at that value. It's just the value of the objects around it might change depending on the market, and those objects that you could buy with those fungible tokens are non-fungible, meaning the value of an apple could one day be $1 and the next day $3, or the next day negative 50 cents. It all depends on the market. And with that, we also wanted to explain tangible to intangible. What we're talking about here between fungible and non-fungible are intangible things, because so far no one has made a physical blockchain yet, although you could technically argue that DNA is, but that's a whole topic for another day in a future episode of Crypto Barons. And we've gone from the earliest pioneer days of hackers and digital artists and people with way too much time on their hands who finally got bored with porn, coding these experiments like CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks, all the way to major banking systems and the NBA, artists, and all sorts of things. You can see here how much they're worth. Going on to these systems as a way to validate a product's existence and an ownership of that project digitally without going through crazy DMCA and intellectual property laws and things like that on a self-regulating, usually decentralized system. So that was the easy part. That's what originally we were going to do at 8 p.m. Now in a moment, and we're going to probably do this until, I'm thinking 11, although I really want to end it before this because this is going to be a big headache for me, okay? We're going to get into the hard part now. So we're going to go on a short break because I'm near the end of my water, and trust me, I'm going to need water, and I would say I would wish this would be alcohol, but by the end of this, I'm going to wish that we're like at the Demerol factory or something, because this is going to drive me insane. Yes, I am wearing a physical blockchain because it's yours. Come and take it from me. No. So anyhow, yeah, crypto battles, a giant. It's like the text editor wars, where we just have plastic cutlery. Anyhow, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on a quick break. I'm gonna go rehydrate, cry into a pillow for a bit, refresh my notes, and to the best of my ability, I'm going to tell you and show you what you need to build your own non-fungible token, how that sort of works in a coding environment, and then cross your fingers, we should be able to run this and it should work. I don't want GES, isn't a web of trust sort of a physical block? Well, see, that's the thing. You're talking about a web of trust. You could maybe argue that if there's a physical ledger of all the parties and actions involved, that could be a physical blockchain. Like we did with the poker example in our first episode of Crypto Barons. But again, a web of trust is usually a mental thing. Again, I trust G.I. Jack. Why? Because I have a bunch of non-physical experiences. Thank God they're non-physical, where he's earned my trust over time, and potentially vice versa. And that's the web of trust. You can't physically just be like, zoop, yep, here's the web of trust. I'm holding a piece of it in my hand. That doesn't normally work, again, unless you have a physical actual ledger. So that is still a non-tangible thing. So, the same way how like credit works with money. Again, credit, non-tangible, also fungible because it replicates the physical United States dollar, but it's not physically there, but it still replicates that process. The US dollar itself is fungible, and tangible. The intangible would be, for example, in blockchain would be these NFT tokens, and also non-fungible in like the real world would be something like intellectual property, where depending on how people feel about this IP, that's technically what it's worth, unless you're Disney, where you have a legion of nightmare lawyers sharpening sharp pointy knives. So again, like I said, we're gonna go on a short break. I'm gonna play some music. It's at max, it's probably gonna be 3 or 4 minutes long. So don't leave anywhere yet. I'm going to go rehydrate, and then I'm going to show all the platforms we're working on, including the tool that now works that was broken, which is why we're late. Again, I apologize for that. And then we're going to get into looking at the code for this, me kind of explaining the best of my ability how this is set up, and then we're going to attempt to run the frickin' thing and pray and pray and pray. If we go on multiple breaks, it's me looking at my notes trying to correct what's wrong. Okay? So I will be back in a bit. Again, we're not going anywhere. Stay tuned. Just enjoy the music in the meantime. if you, I'm glad that you got it. If you have any questions or anything, even when I'm on break, if you can't hear me or I'm too loud or you want me to reclarify something, explain what this physical blockchain is around my neck, why my hair is crazy, why the hell we were late, it was my fault also, Windows and crappy programmers. Or you just want to shout out something cool that is not something that Ben Shapiro would say, having sex with his non-existent wife, you can say so in chat. I love talking in chat. Otherwise, as I always say, keep lurking and keep learning, because we love our lurkers too. And if you like this content, what you see so far of this current Crypto Barons, and you're excited for the next Crypto Barons, or you want to check out some of our other shows, or you want to finally check out and experience our meetup, third Friday of the month, that will be March 19th. I think we're starting it at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have like an hour of like pre-show and then go right into it. You don't want to miss it. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff there. You can, again, hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. Also, hi everyone out there on Facebook. I know your pain. And also all the awesome people on PeerTube and all the awesome people watching this through Tor. You are the elite hackers. So again, I'm going to go on break, enjoy the music. I'm going to rehydrate and cry, look at my notes to make sure I didn't completely screw up. If we screw up, then I don't know what to tell you. And again, enjoy the music, and I'll be right back. I don't want, G says it's 4 a.m., and I don't speak English. I understood physical. Okay, good. At least my explanation is good like that. That's fine. I live in the United States. I don't speak English either. I grew up speaking English, and I'm terrible at speaking English because, you know, Americans. And it's not 4 a.m. here yet. I believe right now it is, it's about to be 10 p.m. It feels like 4 a.m. right now, especially if I'm going to get into, it's not even the code. You're going to see the platforms and every programmer is going to go, ah, because these are like some of the most annoying things. So anyhow, let me do that. Enjoy the music. We will be right back on Crypto Barons. Stay tuned. Okay, so we are finally back. Oh boy, this is a part I was not looking forward to. So, as a quick recap here, first of all, if you really like the content that you've seen so far on the show, and you're excited for our upcoming 4-year anniversary on March 19th, as well as some of our other shows, such as my other show like Master of Unlocking, and some of the new shows we're going to debut, as the new instant reward is going to pop up in 2 seconds, where you can earn cryptocurrency just by watching. But if you are interested, you can hit that bell, hit that bell, not lick it, hit it, and like, share, and subscribe on Twitch, D Live, and YouTube, especially if you are on D Live, because you notice there's a little follower goal above us, right above this instant reward here. We can go to getinsent.com, scan that QR code, enter that typed code that we have here, and you can earn a little bit of free cryptocurrency that we get no kickbacks on. It's just a cool way for you folks to earn money while you watch me fail at speaking and programming, which are basically the same thing. I was eating like peanuts earlier. I also have an emergency cookie, by the way. This is the only few times you'll ever see me accept cookies. But yeah, we have a follower goal above us. We're on D Live. If we get 15 more followers eventually, and get 100 to 101 followers on D Live itself, we will reach a status called Cryptocurrency Superstar, and that will allow us to not only do more with CryptoBarons on D Live, but will allow us to do a lot more with our D Live in general. A lot of support directly from them, and new channel features will open up and stuff like that. So especially if you're on D Live, but we also really love our folks out there on Twitch TV and YouTube, as well as the few people who are watching on Facebook, which I'll post the link to if you're on Facebook, how to directly communicate us and cry that you're on Facebook, or who are elite hackers and watching on Diode Zone on PeerTube and or on DLive. If you want to know more about us and our DEFCON 21 hacker organization, what our streams are about and who we are and what our bylaws are and stuff, you can go to our website, which is listed below as well as in chat at defcon21.org, or you can follow us, for example, on Twitter at defcon201 defcon201nj, or on Instagram at defcon21, or GitHub, or on Mastodon on hostsucks.social, or blah blah blah. Too many to list. Here's a link tree for you to follow up. So, what we've been talking about so far on CryptoBarons, which, once again, this is the show where we look at cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies as... God, I shouldn't have eaten peanuts before I got on this show. I'm like an elephant. I work for peanuts. There we go. I can kind of speak. I can speak Ted Cruz English now. Yay. The only time anyone's ever given a thumbs up besides his asshole to Ted Cruz. But no, this is the show where we look at cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies as technologies. So we like to run test nets. We're going to look at code, things like that. And what we've recently just looked through is how on the blockchain, there's a concept out there called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, and we discussed what is fungibility and clarified that this is not a weird tale of Earthsea's magic spell, but an actual real-world term that has real-world implications. We looked at what makes up a NFC, or non-fungible token, and sort of kind of the history of it in general, to how it started and how's it going, which is, it's doing a lot. I actually just looked up, there was a crypto kitty that someone bought a year and a half ago, and they literally just sold it this week for 19,000 US dollars. So yeah, this is really exploding. That's why instead of doing the original thing we had for this episode, we went, screw it, moved it to next month, and now we're doing this. I also want to bring up, before we get into the code portion, that I, on my break, came up with a better visual example to explain the difference between fungible and non-fungible. So you can groan all you want, but here we go. So, you know cereal, right? By the way, we're not sponsored by General Mills or Corn Chex. So if you're used to cereal and you're kind of disappointed that they don't put awesome, cool toys anymore, or just like bad download links off QR codes, you probably remember like cutting off these box tops. And basically the concept of these, I don't know if they have these in other countries, but it's common in America, is that on like the back or something, they'll be like, you can earn some sort of like a reward, or we'll send you a golden Corn Chex dildo or something. And what you'd have to do is, it's an incentive to buy the cereal. So you buy the cereal and you cut off these corners here, these top boxes, or I think there may be somewhere else, but yeah, I think usually you end up cutting off the barcode, but you know, it depends on the type of cereal and like the company. And you can hear there's a little bit left. And then when you add enough of these, you can get the product, right? So here's a great visual aid between fungible and non-fungible, right? The box tops are fungible. One of these box top coupons exactly equals one box top, which is why when they say 7, you can't just, they don't go up in value and then you only have to send 3. No, you have to send 7 of these, which means you have to buy, either eat the entire box of corn checks or like throw it out the window to a group of raccoons, and then or smoke them. You know, a bong full of Fruit Loops helps every day, I guess. You know, it is New Jersey. We did make it legal. So uh, I'm not a lawyer, by the way. No comment on that. But yeah, you have to get these box tops, and one box top that you cut off equals to that many box tops. And so they're fungible. Each box top is worth one box top. The cereal it's attached to is non-fungible. I believe I probably got this on sale for $1 or something, or maybe I got like this and another General Mills product for like $3 or $5 on sale. And so like maybe normally this box of corn checks might be like $3.87, but then it might go on sale and be available for like $1.75, or maybe like with toilet paper, which is another great example, during the COVID-19 plague, will go up in price, and now corn checks they skyrocket it to like $8, $10 or something like that. That is non-fungible. So the cereal can change value. It's non-fungible. It's whatever we think it's worth depending on the demand and the market and how hungry we are after smoking a ton of weed in New Jersey and somehow White Castle is not near us. The box tops that you cut out and send in for the rewards are fungible. They will never change. One box top does not end up equaling 3 box tops or half a box top over time. One box top is one box top, but the corn checks itself can change in value depending on our perceived value of it. There's gray areas, but that's the basic way. You got that? Good. I wish I thought of that earlier. Plus, it's making me hungry. So, now that we've gotten all the explanations out of the way, we're going to do the part that I hate the most, which is insane because the episode I was usually going to do, I was psyched and prepared for, but like in the same way how you know you're going to get punched in the face at a certain time. So I was like, all right, I know, let's do this. And so when I was 2 days ago and it was like, oh, now it's NFTs, I'm like, and I looked at it and it's like, see, the thing I was going to do is networking stuff. This is coding. You've all seen the first episode where like I can code and I have coded in the past. I am not the best coder out there, and I've gotten rusty over the years, and generally also coders have gotten code now even more shittily somehow than I did when I was younger, mainly with bloat. So this is going to drive me crazy even more than what I originally planned for. And so what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to, and at least the part I know is going to work, is I'm going to show you how you can create your own non-fungible token, like how they're built and all the mechanics behind it. And we're going to look at the type of token system we're going to use. We're going to look at the prerequisite tools of what used to build this. Then we're going to look at some pre-made code that was made. We're going to be digging through a GitHub, which, again, if you're on Twitch, we have a little GitHub portal thing at the bottom. You can go down and you can click on one of these two. You're going to click on the NFT GitHub. And again, if you go to our link tree or our website, you'll find our GitHub link there. And you can follow along with us on that. That's what we're going to be looking through. And then, because I think I have everything set up correctly, we're going to try to run the thing and make it work. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't work, because this is CryptoBarons, where we always tempt the demo gods and nothing works. I don't know how InCommander does it, but that's what we're going to do. So we're going to flip back over to this screen. I also realize I have to actually, it's also going to look ugly for a moment, because I also realize I have to actually put even more programs in here than what I originally intended. And so let's get down with this, as our co-founder swears really loudly for no reason. So what we're going to use to build our non-fungible token, or NFT, is something called ERC-721. Now, I know what you're thinking. Which Star Wars droid was this in which episode of whatever movie that's come out, or The Mandalorian? I wish there was a code called Grogu. There probably is going to be, knowing pop culture. But ERC stands for a type of Ethereum token. So if you've seen market stuff, ETH is the denonym, kind of the same way how we use USD or the dollar sign to represent the United States dollar. ETH is what we use to represent Ethereum. There is, however, not one Ethereum. For example, a big split, and I'm not going to go into details. This will be a future thing. There's going to be one episode where I'm probably just going to cover everything on Ethereum once, just like how there's going to be an upcoming episode soon where I cover Bitcoin and all of its crazy forks. And it can go fork off. But there's a split, for example, between there's Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, which sort of mirrors to some degree how the two main Bitcoins right now are Bitcoin itself, which seems to never die and just gets more bloated until it turns into a giant whale, and then McAfee ends up doing terrible things to it, and Bitcoin Cash, which, you know, was a hee-hee-ha-ha spinoff that then everyone eventually started taking serious business when it started to not play reindeer games anymore. Similar split. Well, in addition to that, because of how Ethereum's set up, again, it is nearly impossible to make a non-fungible token, by the way, in Bitcoin. That's why you don't see Bitcoin-based ones. I've heard there are ways to do it, but it's beyond the scope of this episode, and you basically have to hack your chain on Bitcoin and the actual like the blocks, including the Genesis blocks, the smart contract, and everything, to the point where you might as well use another chain. You know, that's the level. So that's why we're not even bothering with Bitcoin stuff. Ethereum, while Ether, whether it's classic or current, has value as an Ether token, the main thing, as we covered before with Polkadot 2 episodes ago, or 3 episodes ago, one of the two, is that Ethereum is trying to develop itself to be the developer's network. You're not really going after Ethereum for the base Ethereum token value. It's kind of like a leftover appendix from its beginnings, as well as a side effect of how it's built now. What they want, the value is not the tokens. The value is the malleability of spin-off tokens, as well as the blockchain itself and the spin-off chains. They want to be a platform to make applications and decentralized applications. That's the real value of Ethereum. Basically kind of making Ethereum to some degree non-fungible. Again, Bitcoin, one Bitcoin equals a thing. You can't change the chain itself even when you fork it. It's really difficult to do, so everything is kind of rigidly based up. Ethereum is more malleable overall, which is why you see so many people building applications over that. Of course, as we covered in the Polkadot episode, because ex-Ethereum developers make it, there are now rival chains, including Polkadot, that are currently being used. So, what do I mean by all that? Well, as I said, you're probably familiar, if you're in finance, and we're going to get into the code in a moment, that you have an Ether wallet, and let's just say normal Ether, we're not doing Ethereum Classic, and it's worth a certain value, and it jumps up and down on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko or whatever, you know, as you do, and you trade that token. What you don't know is that your base Ethereum token, or what you would normally call Ethereum or ETH, is actually a certain type of token. And there's different types. They're all labeled ERCs. I forget what it stands for. If someone knows in chat, you can type that in there. But the ERC that you're probably used to seeing, the token that you're actually using for finance, is known as ERC-20. Now, you can still use those Ether tokens to make DApp applications or DApp applications. God, that sounds like a drunk Hobokener would say. That's it. I'm gonna drink just to that, and then ginger ale, by the way. Although I'm really probably wishing this was alcohol. Alcohol would probably make me code better. So, as it says here on this website for Ethereum, you have the classic Ethereum tokens. Each ERC-20 is identical. This is why you can use them as a finance. So while their value itself might change over time, one Ethereum token, or ERC-20, is one Ethereum ERC-20, as well as its subdivisions. And when you add multiples together, they do not change. Even though you can use the blockchain that it's on to make decentralized applications, you are stuck using the ERC-20. That's the fungible token. It works like money. ERC is a fork of it. It's a different type of token where it's still an Ethereum token, but that 721 means that it's non-fungible, meaning you can make that token into whatever token you want, and ascribe whatever value you think it is. It's mainly a token used to identifying things rather than being a value in of itself, like the way fungible ones are. We get it? So with the split in the chain and these particular ERC-721 tokens, we can change them to have, we can still use the ERC-71s as base. We can change them into our own token type with its own logo and name. We can change how the blocks are processed, the values, the different hashes, things like that. It's a completely malleable token set. It's kind of like the difference between like the user app, which is like ERC-20, where you're just clicking around shooting demons with a shotgun and that's it. And then ER-721 is like IdTech 7. It's the developer tools where you're not playing Doom, you're making Doom. And that's kind of the difference there. And I'll share this website. This is kind of the main official, unofficial website for ERC-721, known as ERC721.com right there. And these are the tokens that we're going to be using to make our non-fungible, not only because we basically have to, but because a lot of even the NBA thing, from what I understand, all use ERC-721s. It's very popular. You can see some of the projects that they support here, such as this. Ooh, I have to check that out later. The Cypher browser, Auctionality, where I guess they use that to label auction items. Non-fungible.com. I wish I knew that earlier. I'mToken.com. Indeed. eMoon, which I guess is what Dogecoin is heading to. Rare Bits, Status, all sorts of things like that. As you can see here, projects that are built, some of them are Crypto Celebrities, Crypto Kitties, and Ether Tulips, which is basically Crypto Kitties but with flowers, because we need to also, hype up the plant moms out there. You can trade them on different, these tokens on different things, such as OpenSeas, Rare Bits, and eMoon, and, other things about the project. Now, I'm going to jump ahead here and tell you that what we're going to be mainly using is we're going to what's called Open Zeppelin. This is a GitHub repository. I unfortunately did not have the space nor the brain power to pin this in our GitHub GitHub repository. Freudian slip there. GitHub owned by Microsoft. So I'm going to post the link in the chat if you want to follow with me on here. And again, the other two I'm going to bring up, you can look at our GitHub repository, whether it's on Twitch or GitHub itself. But this is Open Zeppelin, and basically it has standards for all the different Ether tokens out there, mainly the ERC-721 tokens. And that's what we're going to use today. Including it has everything you need, by the way, for those tokens. So if you want a token that's compatible with some sort of Web 3.0 interface or a DApp or something, go to openzeppelin.com, and it has the framework for all these different types of tokens here. So I'm going to skip ahead here. So what we're going to go into, the particular project is the contracts, because again, what powers the 721 is not necessarily the chain itself, although we could modify that, and to some degree the tokens, but the smart contract, the thing that makes it unique from Bitcoin, the thing that's mostly inherited to Ethereum, where we can change the rule sets of how these tokens operate and behave and how the users interact with them. So we're going to go to open contracts, and again, the library for secure smart contract development. This is going to be very important because, and we're going to install it later just to show, because as we saw with the last episodes, we actually built the smart contract with Solidity, and the program we're going to use uses a way advanced version of what we program with Solidity. So instead of making zombies, they were making their own smart contract for this for this non-fungible custom token we're going to make on our side. It's not going to be public online. You won't be able to see it, but you will be able to see it on the screen. So again, we want the certain contracts. So we're going to go into contracts, and they have different types here. You have access, finance, governance, mockups, proxy, security, utils. We want the actual token itself. So we're going to toke this token here. And again, you have ERC-20, which is the main network for, that's like the finance part of Ethereum. And we're not going to worry about the 3 lucky 7s. That is a future episode and will give me even more headaches of me being in a fetal position, sucking my thumb, rocking back and forth. which this episode's already going to do for me. What we're instead, like I said, we're looking for ERC-721, and even within ERC-721, this is these dot sols. Those are the base contracts. Again, it's a template. We can just, instead of trying to, in Solidity, as you saw me struggle before, trying to type this from scratch, we can just import this SOL file into our project folders and then reference that in there. And unless we want to go in and change pieces, we already have the contract that we want in there. You know, nice little, again, framework. It's a cheat sheet. But even, I will say, among ERC-721 tokens, you can also have variants of them and outlines. You can have burnable ones, kind of like what we talked about, the ownerless library, enumerable, plausible, storage, metadata. We're not going to be focusing on those. What we're going to show, and you're going to see this when we go through the project, is we're just fakicing. I invented a new word, fakicing, where you focus and fake it at the same time. Or maybe you're focusing on something fake. I don't know. But we are focusing on just the default ERC-721 contract. So that's what we're mainly using. We're using the ERC-721 token because its chain and contract system is malleable, and we're going to copy pasta the normal default .sol smart contract to use as our smart contract that will govern our non-fungible token. Here are some of the other things we're going to use to build this, and everyone's going to groan. Node.js. Now, at least they support Black Lives Matter like we do. I think we still have the same bumper for that because I don't know if you've noticed. Not only is it the right thing to do, but like, come on. But yeah, Node.js. JS is already a giant red flag for my brain. But as we've seen in past episodes, Node.js is a type of JavaScript runtime engine that we need in particular for when we do the interface, when we actually talk between the client network that we're running and the GUI that we've built and look into. This is going to be the glue that sticks it together. Wish it wasn't JavaScript, but you know, we have to go with the times, and I think I just passed it. There's a new instant reward popping up. And again, if I'm going too fast, or you want me to explain something, you want me to talk about Node.js some more, which is basically me using a cheese grater on my crotch, or any other things you want to shout, something you have questions about the actual blockchain, what we're building, why my hair's crazy, and stuff like that, you can talk about that in the chat. I love talking to people in the chat. Otherwise, keep lurking and keep learning, because we love our lurkers too. And once again, if you like the content that you see so far, and we're going to get into the core content in a moment, you can hit that bell, like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, especially on DLive, where we're trying to reach 100 followers. If you follow us, particularly on DLive, not only will we cheer you on because I will get notifications for those, which are always really fun, but we, in addition, you know, once we reach 100 on particularly DLive, we get to become crypto superstars on DLive and use our DLive account to do better things, not just on CryptoBarons every second and fourth Saturday of the month, but also just more with our DLive accounts. Just putting that out there. So again, recap, we're using our token's going to be ERC-721 because that's the non-fungible Ethereum token we can develop for. And we're going to use Node.js in order to, unfortunately, use the glue between the network that we're running and to talk to the GUI interface. Speaking of the GUI interface, we're going to use that with React.js. I'd rather be using React.os. Oh. So, React is another JavaScript library, and it's designed to be using for web interfaces. So instead of, which is also annoying for me, building advanced JavaScript, CSS, where I can put a period 30 screens down from where it's supposed to be and stuff like that, we can just load in, and you'll see in the program, we can just load in, again, frameworks, just like how the 721 token is itself, and then modify this for our visual editor instead of me hello worlding this whole thing with with so many indents that might as well be Lisp to do so. So, two JavaScripts. What else are we going to use to build this thing? Well, we're going to be using a suit that's called Truffle. This is, again, instead of using pure Solidity, and we are going to be using Solidity for this, we're going to be using the Truffle toolset, which, again, is another framework. You notice that we're dealing with a lot of frameworks here. Also, I'll run through as I explain Truffle. and post the websites in chat just in case. So if you want to, if you are a like GIMP a BDMS person, here's Node.js, and if you think that someone else peeing in your mouth is too tame for you, here's React OS. So those are those websites. So knock yourself out. I'm about to in a moment. But yes, this is Truffle. Truffle is a suite, literally, of tools. And I'm going to put that link in chat. Which is a framework for Ethereum, which basically makes us making Solidity a whole lot easier. And it basically, while we're going to use Solidity here to program the actual smart contract, Truffle is going to be basically doing macro management. So instead of us having to go through each individual line, try to figure something out, we can push, pull, expand, tell each section of the code where it's going to communicate to directly through Truffle. And as I bring up in here in a moment, and you get used to these screens, you're going to see these. I know, another screen, PowerShell. Up here, we use we're going to be using npm for all of this because we have to. And we installed Truffle, but for the program we're going to use by their direction, who built this, we're using specifically 5.05. So 5.0.5, because it shouldn't be, but might be there's stuff in the newer version of Truffle that might throw this whole thing in for a loop. We also git cloned 2 of the 3 things we're going to be using, and we're going to git clone some more stuff later. Ignore all the error stuff. As long as everything which they did downloaded, it should all work. Keyword is should. And we also updated Chocolatey just in case. But the other thing that you might have seen in this PowerShell is the tool that did not work initially because, you know, shitty coding. And that is Ganache, or as I like to call it now, the gnashing of teeth. When it actually works, it provides a cool, easy function to do. So if you remember our first episode with our, the member berries, you remember? We have a big member. But if you remember that first episode, it literally took in the entire episode for not only us to build the blockchain, but we risked killing the stream just to let me just check something here. Okay, we nearly killed this stream just running the network in 2 separate PowerShell windows alone to run the blockchain. So we had to code the entire blockchain and do this. Now, even though we have the smart contract outline, we still need a blockchain for that to govern. And we could go and directly download, git clone all the stuff for ERC-721 on that chain, and then have to reprogram it and identify as a fork, and then have it communicate with the original chain to know that it's an offshoot. And even if we were running the chain locally, we'd still have to do blah, 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 blah. So the cool thing about Ganache, not GNU, Ganache, GNOME, GNU, is that it just is an automatic Ethereum blockchain. Now, it's not real Ethereum. They're fake tokens. It'll say ETH, but all the tokens are fake, and it only runs locally. It does not connect online. It can connect through network, but it's designed specifically not to connect through the internet. It is literally just, as they say, a one-click blockchain, so it allows us to deploy a test blockchain in order to run programming examples to make sure our dApps work or smart contracts work and stuff on the Ethereum network, instead of having to go through the laborious process of either interfacing directly with the current Ethereum network, which can also be really slow, and or having to basically code our own from scratch. Thankfully, not in the programming language scratch. Now, as I add Ganache to the visual display here, so just bear with us on. Let me just double check something. Okay, so just bear with us on the potential insanity here, because you're going to see screen sizing stuff everywhere that I didn't intend because I forgot to load this thing up on here. So Ganache. There it is. Well, no, that's the website. Hold on. And now we have a new problem. Okay. Don't worry, it's not too crazy. So what we're gonna actually do here is I'm gonna remove this. This is what happens when OBS does not understand a Windows. Now, it could also just be that we'd have to tweak it a bit more and tell us to look at a specific thing in the window, but we don't have time for that, and F it, we'll do it live. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply screen share a lot earlier than I thought we would, because we'd have to screen share for the last thing anyhow. So let's see here. So we're going to display capture. So it's going to get... Okay, it's going to get trippy in a moment here. You ready for this? Extreme close-up! Whoa! Okay. So what we're going to do here... Actually, let me get this out of screen mode so we can look at stuff. So here it is, and what I should be able to do now, we have some like options here, so we can either pick Ethereum or Corda, or we can make a new workspace. I'm just going to do quick start from what I understand. So click. And it's going to process all this stuff, and we're going to cross it. Even if it doesn't work, we at least can look at all the code for this. We got this right, because I'll tell you what happened. Basically, they assumed like everything was default Windows, and even default Windows has changed a lot over time. So it thought it was looking for a specific type of like memory that was always going to be in one place, and modern Windows subdivides the memory in different spots. So if it thinks, this is what Siricel told me, by the way, because I did not figure this out because I'm not that smart, that when, you know, if like, for example, if you have drives, and let's say drive F or drive H is freer than drive C, it'll put part of or the entire program into those drives that have C. This was looking into just C, and this proves that C is the bane of all existence, both in Windows and in programming. So it couldn't load, and I spent like a billion years trying to correct it, and then Siricel went, oh, they programmed it wrong. Boop, boop, here, and I slammed my head through a wall. So again, thank you, Siricel, for getting this to work, but here it is. We have a bunch of address accounts, and remember, this is local, and none of these Ethereums actually mean anything. If you tried to put this on the Ethereum blockchain, not only would it not recognize it, but you would get basically a nuke sent over to where you are, because they have their own smart contracts that watch out for this crap. But we have public addresses, we have private addresses. It's everything you would normally see on a blockchain network here, and you can see how much was used and the gas for that, and the transactions, the contract, which is nothing's being used. And there we go. You can like link the projects and stuff. I have no idea what events mean. I guess that's us. And here's like the logs, for example. So we have everything we need. So remember the last time where I had PowerShell open and Windows command, and we had two different Python programs and ran them at the same time, and then like jumped in the minecart and bam. As you can see, once we actually made Windows work, one click and we have the same type of things with our own test blockchain that's directly modeled on Ethereum, all there. So that's what we're using. And I think I'm missing something here. What is that? I think there's like one last thing we should probably be using. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious, here's the system error. I sent that over. So hopefully they'll update it so it doesn't just always default look for C all the time, because that's not even how Windows currently runs. But yeah, so as a recap, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at a non-fungible token that we're going to do locally here. We're going to be using ERC-721, which we are running with Ganache, which is our one-stop cryptocurrency right here thing. So we have our own chain. We're going to be using Node.js as the node and the bridge. We're going to be using React, JS, Node.js. This is going to be a long night. To set up the node to run it and do the bridge. We're going to be using React.js to do the web interface, and we're going to be using a certain version of the truffle suit, because not only will that be, as I can bring it up here, compatible with Ganache that we're using, but if I do everything correctly, we should be able to use some tools on there in addition to NPM to kind of tie the whole room together. So I'm going to stop doing the display capture now. We're going to go back to this, and here's going to be kind of the rest of our episode for the next like 10-20 minutes here. And what we're going to be looking at is DApp University has a bunch of really awesome things there. I highly recommend check them out. Oh, I forgot what we're doing. Hold on. So let's do one last let's do the last screen share that we're going to be doing for a while. I apologize for this. The last thing is we need something to interface here, and if you remember from the Polkadot episode, the GitLab episode, we've already set up that, and that is known as Mirror Mask. And I'm actually going to temporarily stop the screen share so that I can enter in the. I mean, you can't really see it, and I don't know if you can hear the keyboard, but basically the password for the thing. And you also can't see it in my glasses, and it's blurred out anyhow, but I'm just making sure. Haha. Did I type that in wrong? Hold on. Bleh. There we go. So I'm going to do the screen share again. And what you're going to see here is this is MetaMask. Now, like I said, the user interface we're making with React.js, it needs something to communicate with because most browsers, unless I believe you are Brave, not literally Brave, but the Brave browser, as well as some very recent ones. Opera, I think, does this to some degree, and probably some unique, very new, modified Chromium browsers that are like super niche, don't have direct, oh, and Status, don't have direct Web 3.0 interface. Of Web 3.0, as we discovered, what we talked about in Polkadot, is using web stuff for blockchain. So what we had to install, as we did for the Gitcoin episode, GitLab Gitcoin episode, is MetaMask. And we went through this before that episode, so I'm not going to talk about it again, but here's an interesting thing, and this is going to be very important. We can connect through different chains on MetaMask. And so you see all these chains. Basically, we are going to have to input the chain that we're going to use for Ganache when we have the UI running, and that will interface with MetaMask, which will allow us to directly interface between the fake Ethereum tokens here and our web interface so that everything works. So it's like a stool. We need React.js. We need, as our interface, Ganache as the chain, the Node.js is the glue, and the MetaMask is the third pillar that allows all the wallets and the coins and the website to all talk with each other. And we're coding this using a combination of Solidity, various frameworks, and Truffle. So did we all get that? Good. Let's stop with the display share. So one of the cool things, so with DApp University here, now I'm going to post this in chat because I don't think we have this in chat. And I forked this just in case because I might show off something really cool in a moment that you could do, provided that it works. I'm going to use the Ubuntu subsystem for this, which is they have a starter kit. So if you want to make your own smart contracts and chains and stuff, you can literally git fork this and then build and add to your project right here. But what we've done, fortunately, and again, you can see this on our GitHub page, is that we actually have the whole NFT already done, and that's why I'm not suffering as much as usual, because we're going to look at the code for this. I'm not going to be type coding. I'm sorry to disappoint you all, because my brain barely works. You saw what happened when I coded last time. It took 5,000 years. So we're going to look at all this, and then I'm going to attempt to run the node and connect everything together, and hopefully everything should work. If not, welcome to CryptoBarons and how much the demo gods hate us. So as you can see here with the language meter, a lot of profanities because it's 87.3 JavaScript, something I never want to see in my life. God, I think I'm going to take a shower after this. And then, there's a little bit of HTML, which is the part that's going to be the web part of the interface that reacts to React.js, as well as CSS to kind of organize things, even though we risk a chance of putting a comma all the way out in outer space. So you'll notice that it has a lot of the same folders, the gitnar, the JSON packages, the config and Truffle. Truffle's already pre-built, source folders and stuff, but you'll also notice that we've added a bunch of different things here. And so let's look at this. So remember the Node.js? Well, this is actually one of the last things that you would normally build, which is the package lock and the package JSON file. Come on, you slow computer, load. There we go. So as you can see, this is just basically like, Node.js JavaScript. And this basically talks between Truffle and all the different stuff that we programmed. It's a huge-ass file. See, this is why I didn't code this. Look how big this file is. It's still taking time to load. It's programmed in Soliloquy. So this is going to be the Node.js stuff that's going to talk to our actual web browser interface, including the thing in package right here, which is just basically all that code kind of summarized out. So as it says here, which you'll see in the Soliloquy code, we have the Ether Marketplace, what version it is, what we're going to be doing with this one, if everything works correctly, is it's going to look like CryptoKitties, except it's just going to be hexadecimal colors. So you're going to see a hex number and the color it represents, and we can generate new ones, and then we can purchase them with our fake tokens. So not only does each color register on the blockchain, but like you, me, Alice, Bob, and everyone else knows who owns what are purchased and which ones are unpurchased without having to go through like banks and stuff. It's all on the blockchain, all decentralized, all automatic between the Ethereum 721 tokens with the Ethereum blockchain, as well as sorry, my brain just died. As well as the smart contract, which we're doing in Solidity. As you can see here, we already have the JavaScript here that's going to communicate directly with Truffle. Basically, it's looking for a certain port that I'm just going to make a note of here. So let's see, port 7545, just in case, because we haven't modified this. And hopefully, there's nothing else to have on that port. So we'll cross our fingers with this. And so let's start looking through some of the code here. So actually, what we will go into is, I believe, the source itself, and we're going to go directly into the contract here. Now, as you saw before, remember when we looked at oh, that's the wrong thing. Not Gash. Where did I put? There it is. When we went to our the Open Zeppelin contracts, we found the pure token. Remember that ERC-721.sol, right? Which has been updated 6 days ago. Well, if we go back here, you can see that back then it was known as full, and we actually imported that into here. And you can see that it's all right here. This is the, let's compare, because they may have done some changes. Let's click on this guy. And as you can see, let me actually put these next to each other. You can see there's a different version of Solidity between each, but this is a similar framework that was being used here. This is also why we're using 5.0.5 of Truffle. So that was that. Now, here's the crazy part, right? If you haven't noticed, not only is there a whole bunch of lines, but in the previous one, like when you look at extensions, like you have all of these .sol files and different folders and stuff, and you need the utilities, and it's crazy. But you'll notice that when we look at our contract, we just basically compressed it into one mitigations file and one core sol file. So how did we take all of those and then made that into the core file? Well, I'm glad you didn't ask, and here's what we're going to attempt to do now, and it probably is not going to work, but we will try. So let's see. Hopefully I did the right thing here. Here we go. So this is our Ubuntu subsystem here. And what we have done here is we are actually going to copy. We're going to go back to our Open Zeppelin in here. And we are actually going to, let's see, copy the file. Hang on. Just want to make sure that we're in all the right things. Let me just quickly look, because I might skip this section. I might just describe it. Might just describe it and go, I was going to try to do it in like the main thing here, but we're going to find out. So let me just double check something here. Okay, so that's where that is. Just double checking, because we don't need to do this. I just want to show you like how you would actually do this, you know, in like a real life thing. Okay, so that's there. So unfortunately, because of the way things are modified, I can't show you what we would do here. So that means I could actually close this, which is good because I actually want to load up a different terminal thing later. But what we would normally have done if we started out from scratch is we would have imported. The full SOL, all the folders and everything in, and then we would have actually used something that is known as a truffle flattener, which is an extension to truffle that you get for NPM. where what it will do is you can basically tell, okay, here's all the folders. Now put everything into this one .sol file, and we'll take all of those, squish it together properly, and put them all in there, just like what we have done with this final version of the code, where the entire outline for the 721 is in here. Hello, Maverick. How are you doing tonight? Just as a quick recap, we are looking into NFTs, or non-fungible token. Am I interested in it? Well, so like I said, cap of the show. This is CryptoBarons, where we look at cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies as technologies. So while I have some preliminary market interest in it, we covered a bit of the market, particularly how it took off and how it began. We more look at all these cryptocurrencies and blockchain tech as technologies. So as you can see right now, we're basically making our own locally hosted NFT using Ethereum 721 and a bunch of other different tools like Node.js, React.js, unfortunately a lot of JavaScript, and we're just showing you how it works. Thank you, Maverick Twitch, by the way, for following us on Twitch itself. Hack the planet indeed. And I'm just showing everyone the code, and then I'm going to attempt to run the server and then try to get the interface going, and we're going to pray the demo god. So that's what we're going. So yes, I am interested in NFTs, but I'm more interested in non-fungible tokens. We also explain what fungibility is, and I'm trying to show it how the technology works rather than like me being worried about NBA archive videos and stuff. Just let everybody know. So as you can see here, the other thing that is added here is we have a .sol file known as color, and this is in Solidity. You'll probably know this is very familiar if you've played the Crypto Zombies. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a bit more. There we go. So we have chunky code, where, as you said, you have to state Solidity and the version number. In this case, it's 0.5.0. And we imported that Ethereum 721 contract chain in, which is already there, and we defined color itself, and basically this is the interface of how it talks between taking the outline for the smart contract and how the smart contract is supposed to update. A lot now, again, the contract itself, lots of code. The actual governing parts of the contract, not so much. So that governs the contracts itself and the color. Then we have like the different components here, which is JavaScript and a CSS file. And this basically knows about the display. So when we do the user interface, the CSS is going to tell us how to actually display and organize each individual color. Because what we want to do is we're going to show a circle or square of color, and then the hashtag underneath it. Let me look at the chat real quick. Well, the cool thing is I can't guarantee that I'm technically smarter than Logan Paul, but seeing some of his videos, I like to think I am. I might forget a couple of things and doof once in a while during programming or when speaking, but I haven't found a dead body on camera and started to poke at it. So, so I'm glad you just came from there. I know right now, which is why I covered this episode, NFTs are a hot topic right now, even more than hot topic itself. And I had a completely different episode planned for tonight, and I scrapped it at the last minute. To do all of this because it's the new thing. Sometimes that happens on CryptoBarons. I'm going to do the thing I originally was going to do today next month in April. Probably, I think it's like April 10th or something. We normally do the show the second and fourth Saturdays of the month. Yep, I was correct. April 10th. April's going to be special also for me for a different reason. So back to this. Learning Savet. Good for you. Let me know how that's going. And again, if anyone has any questions or clarifications, you want to shout out something cool like Maverick did, more than welcome to it. I love talking to chat again. Otherwise, keep lurking, keep learning. I hope you're learning for this because right now my brain feels like it's on fire. So the app.js, this is the JavaScript, if I remember correctly. First of all, it's going to import the CSS for the display here. And then this basically is going to communicate. This will allow you to communicate between the Web 3.0 interface, which will be the mirror mask, as well as what it constitutes for the different parts of the blockchain that we are currently running using Ganache, our local test chain system. And that's what all of this JavaScript is right here. And that's all of the components. It's literally just the user interface. We have the ABIS here, which is all the different JSONs that JavaScript that's going to describe what color, like for the website itself, what the color is, how to lay out the tokens, how when you click on buying, how it can check the token system, what happens when there's not enough tokens. Uh, I'm not viewing the file raw. It's a 1.52 megabyte. Jesus Christ! Again, this is also why we smart developers on blockchain try to avoid bloat, but considering the nature of blockchain itself and current technologies and frickin' Java and JavaScript, you can't to some degree. Oh, we covered this earlier. I'll show you really quick. Cheezil. So again, if you have US fiat or USD, you're probably not going to be able to trade unless you're just trading cryptocurrency tokens. But and I'll show this up in here. When we took a look at it, we actually had the exact same problem. That means you probably got this. Oh, zoom. This user message. This is probably what Logan Paul screwed up on because he's not an actual hacker. The only thing that he hacks off is his friend's ears during stupid publicity stunts. Again, if you like the dude, that's fine, but that's just me. But yeah, the website, because of, as I said, local regulatory requirements for cryptocurrency and finances, especially since America's not really doing right now, they're not trading. What we did show, what you can do, is you can either load up a VPN, or if you're live streaming like us, and honestly it's easier and you'll be more safe overall by default without having to do any code or having to trust a VPN or whatever, you can use, let me look for it here. You could use the Tor browser, which is what this is. And it will, again, it thinks we are in the Netherlands, and I could actually redo another circuit and it will reload. And we'll probably get the same website as long as it doesn't accidentally land in America. And it now thinks we're in Switzerland. And we're not running a VPN. So if you want to access the Chitlins, I don't know how you pronounce it, but if you want to access this website, just to access and look around, you could use the Tor browser. You could technically use a VPN, but I think Tor browser, especially if you don't have it. And I also want to clarify, you could technically also use the open tab with Tor if you're on Brave, but I don't recommend Brave for multiple reasons. Covered that in a previous episode, by the way, in October, why. But if you want to look at the website, load it through Tor. If you want to do coin trading, you probably could, especially if it's a decentralized currency. But if you're doing with fiat, you probably want to translate your fiat to another country that Chills actually supports. Before you start spending, So just letting you know that's how you access it. Tor, use decentralized tokens and probably convert your money to a place where it actually supports it if you actually want to use fiat money on there. So we got that. We're good. All right, let's go back to the coding stuff because this is still going to drive me crazy. This is the perfect face for me to troll on, right? Hang on. I really hope random porn does not pop up. Hold on. There we go. It's good because it's we got an error screen. So let's go back to the code here. And again, this is all the JSONs that we'll describe on the website and the interface to MetaMask, every single thing that it needs to do. We can trade from India. Still, our central banks want to ban because they, India is the other country that really hates. I think the Europe half-ass supports it, and China and certain East Asian countries support it just to piss people off. And Africa is actually developing it. I actually want that to be an episode where we talk about how cryptocurrency is used in Africa, particularly the crazy project Akon is doing with it. But yeah, India, they it's not just currency. I know for a fact that the Indian government loves to centralize everything, which is why there's a real bad vibe of totalitarianism through Indian governments and society, just like there is in the United States. Maybe not exactly like it, but bosom buddies. So let's see. Was that the ABIS? That was the ABIS. And then we have the JavaScript for the index. For the page itself and how to talk to React in order to do the visual interface. And of course, we have a little PNG logo and a bit of JavaScript so that it knows how to communicate with the local host that it's going to go on in order for this to run. So let's see, mitigation. So this is kind of important here. these are two JavaScripts, and again, this was using that truffle tool that I wasn't able to get working. We don't need it because it's already been done. Where we have migration for the initial when it commits, and then we have another JavaScript file that talks about how it's deployed. As you can see here, this is the consistent migrations that will allow you to move between, be able to move tokens back and forth, and then how to actually deploy that contract that we imported from Open Zeppelin back over here. So that's two very important things that you would have to do for this. And then let's go back to source. Just trying to see here. Yep, that is the core source for everything. And then we have the little test folder here. And of course you have your, Balric, your git ignore, the truffle interface, things like that. So that's all the code. Now we're going to do the part that's going to drive me insane. And that is we are going to attempt to run the damn thing. I don't expect this to work like it usually doesn't work on CryptoBarons, but cross your fingers on this. So we're going to try. So let me quickly look at my notes real quick. And again, if you really like the content that you see so far, you hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, and YouTube. We get notification for that. I'd cheer you on like I did before. And if we get 15 more followers on DLive in particular, we get to become crypto superstars on DLive, which means not only can we do more things for CryptoBarons that are cryptocurrency related, but we also get to do more with our DLive account. So particularly if you're on DLive or you know a friend on DLive, you can follow us on DLive. It's free, just like with Twitch and YouTube. We're not like partners or anything, even though we qualify for that. We don't do that due to personal and legalese reasons. But yeah, no, that would mean a lot, particularly for me, because I get to make CryptoBarons even more awesome than it is. And who knows, maybe we could actually physically upgrade the blockchain here. Speaking of blockchain, we currently have it running on Ganache. Let's see if we could actually run this crap. So, oh boy, this is the proving point, isn't it? So I'm going to open the PowerShell again. And let me check something. I'm actually going to temporarily take the browser window away just so we can all concentrate on this. And I just want to make sure that I don't have to import one other thing in here just to be on the safe side. Okay, I believe we are fine with this. So I'm going to go in. I thought I had to import one extra thing, but I guess I don't. So I'm just going to clear this. And all right, so we should be back at the top. I should be able to. Okay. And we have all the different files there. So I'm also going so slow because not only am I slow, but this is annoying. So what we're going to do, again, it's probably going to fail, but we're going to see. So I don't know if I need to do this step, but this will be good just to make sure, is we're going to use truffle. And we're going to migrate everything. Okay, I'm just adding. Actually, I don't think I need reset. If there's an issue with it, I'll run it with reset. So let's see what happens, if anything. If all of a sudden the stream cuts off, that means I screwed up somewhere. Okay, so let's see, core. Module Babel registered, but I think everything else probably moved over, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna clear this again, and we're gonna try to do this here because we are in the correct thing. So this should work. We're gonna attempt to run this and see what happens. React scripts not recognized. Blah blah blah. Fail. Logging, local package. Node modules is missing. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to spend a few minutes to try to attempt to fumble around, figure this out. If anyone has any suggestions in the chat, let me know. I feel like we've warped back to 2 episodes ago. But I would say if everything goes right, we're probably going to end the shindig at 11:30. So at around 11:30, and I'll announce it beforehand. If you're on D Live, I'm gonna drop a bunch of lemons for everybody because we love getting lemons to give away lemons. Essentially, it's like Robin Hood: give from the rich, steal from the rich, and give to the poor. And then we're gonna go rate a stream on Twitch, and that will be good for the episode. And I'll let you know about what's coming up and things like that. So let's see. There's an exit status. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to try to do so. I think it's going to do the same output as before. Okay, and then we're going to try to run it again. Still the same error. Let's see. There's a log in the debug at Ethereum. What do you think? It shouldn't be because we have the old smart contract, because the contract should work regardless. They literally work as contracts. So let's see. File start. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on a quick 3 to 5 minute break and futz around with this so that way I don't accidentally show off like weird system information and stuff. So I'm going to play music for a couple of minutes, and then when I come back, I either am going to have a solution for this or not, but literally just give it about 3 to 5 minutes. And if we can't do that, then I'll just kind of go over what we learned, and we're going to call the episode quits. But stay tuned. I'm going to attempt to, it's faster for me if we're on standby and I figure this out than doing it live, just to let everybody know. So enjoy the music once again a little bit. I will be back way sooner than I was before, okay? So here we go. Wish me luck on this. And if I do solve it, I'll explain and show how I solved this, by the way. So see you in a bit.
And when everything is upside down, when you're yelling but you make no sound, life is gonna spin you round. Whoa, and get a little bit stranger. When everything is upside down, a tremor in the underground, the nights are gonna take this town. Whoa.
So, here's what's been going on. So, shocking news, we can't get the thing to run. The reason is because, as far as I know, it's going to take way too much time that we have, and at least you can get this last instant reward, is that there is an issue with the marketplace version and the package.json with its node modules, which I'm actually going to quickly look into again. And basically that's causing all the problems. And normally on a stream we would sit here and I would just sit through everything and like bang my head against the wall in order to try to fix the issue. But unfortunately, due to time and stuff, and we're actually near the end of our episode anyhow, we're not going to go into that. So I'm going to apologize in advance unless I can pull a miracle out of my butt for everyone who really wanted to see everything running. I'm already kind of developing, which is probably going to be a CryptoBarons episode itself at IOU, where I will show, because I've gotten some things that we didn't previously get to work, and I've written down why it didn't work originally and why it works now. But just because we're near the end of the episode anyhow, I'm not gonna unfortunately for all of you go through that right now. But I do want to say to thank you. Let me just double check something here. Thank you all for watching this episode of CryptoBarons. Let's just see the node modules. I'm going to try one last thing here that you're not going to see. If not, I can always scroll back and do it. See, dependent. But what was missing in it? There's the insent code. I just heard it. That was our co-founder, by the way, that went by, who looked like a giant bee. All right, well, I'm going to try one last command, which I don't think is going to work. And let's see here. Let's see. Let's just try it with this command. Okay, all right, so npm run. I know this looks very exciting right now because you can't see the in terminal. Same errors. Okay, so it has to do something. I have to look through the logs and stuff, but again, we're about to hit 11:30, so that will be the end of our time, unfortunately. Here, but again, and I'll do a recap. Thank you for everyone who has who's currently watching CryptoBarons. This is one of those things where I think we started off strong, and I think hopefully everyone learned what we came out to learn today, which is what a NFT or non-fungible token actually is, because once again, the cryptocurrency universe, everyone, hi user 01. Oh, and Starstream's followed today. Thank you for that person who followed. But yeah, if anyone's even in DLive right now, I'm going to add a couple of tokens here, and hopefully you might win something. Will I showcase later? Yes, if I do get it running, there's an episode, as I said, and it's fun little squiggly face. There is going to be a future episode that will probably happen. It might actually happen in May as like an anniversary episode of here are all the things that didn't work on the past episodes, like some of the stuff with Gitcoin and IPFS and stuff that I got working, and then explaining. And I'm distributing the treasure chest rewards right now. So for everyone on DLive, you're gonna get a bunch of lemons soon. and I'm going to be like, here's how they all actually end up working. So that's a little bit of the egg on my face there. So hopefully I will look through and actually get this working with all the same setup and everything, because I had all the code there. It's just there's something off about it. It might just be because it's too old and I have to update some things, even though we're supposed to be using kind of a throwback version. I don't know. We'll see. But let's make sure my mic's on. Okay. But yeah, so that was unfortunately it. Thank you, Jimmy DeHook, for just for following us on DLive. Sorry, I didn't notice that there. That was my fault. But I hope everyone again learned what non-fungible tokens are. I hope that everyone has learned, what fungibility is. How it started with CryptoKitties, and I mean it wasn't the first, but like CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks were kind of the first to do all this stuff. And then how it's currently going, where NFTs have just been, particularly this week's been skyrocketing between the NBA and certain banks. It's again affected the market so much. It's kind of like when a new Mario Kart comes out, all the other older Mario Karts from like years ago also end up charting. It's the same thing where even CryptoKitties are being sold for like tens of thousands of dollars now instead of like the couple of bucks that they were back then. And as you can see, we saw how you could modify, use and modify an ERC-721, which is the most popular Ethereum type token out there. That's the non-fungible version, or to make our non-fungible tokens, and what you would need or do a web user interface for that, and the JavaScript. Unfortunately, JavaScript will be JavaScripting, and JSONing will keep being a big pain in the ass, and we couldn't get it to run in the little bit of time that we had. But I showed you all the code of how it's set up, and so I hope everyone learned some things from this. I definitely learned a lot. And again, I originally had a completely different episode in mind that I had ready and working and everything, so that's going to happen in April. Let me look here, because I'm trying to find a fun, hopefully cool stream we can raid going on. Ooh, maybe we'll actually check into some music. That might be a fun thing. Oh, this person's learning. Stream it. There's a reason why we use default OBS stuff. Good luck. Oh, I think they just popped in online. Okay. They just popped in online. We're gonna kind of go traditional here and raid someone who we've been following for a while from the hacker scene. And if you're on Twitch, you're about to jump over to this stream. So I hope you get to cheer them on and everything. And I'm gonna go and get that set up now. So I'm going to do the ending spiel. Once again, thank you for watching CryptoBarons tonight. And I also apologize for being super late. Literally, one of the tools that I had broke, and then Cyricel, because he's amazing, fixed it just for everything not to work in general. But at least we got through this episode, and I feel proud about it. Stay tuned for the person that we're about to raid. If you liked, again, this content that you can see, even if we're not live streaming, you can click that bell, click that bell, hit follow, share, like, and subscribe on Twitch, DLive, and YouTube. Also, hi everyone out there on Facebook, Diode Zone, and I'm missing one, Facebook, Diode Zone, and watching us through Tor. If you are interested in our upcoming stuff, which includes March 19th, our 4-year anniversary, where we're going to have some special guests on, and it's going to be relaxing. We're going to be drinking and talking. It's going to be great. You can go to our website, as you can see below, or in chat at defcon21.org. We also have a small list of social media stuff you can follow us when we announce episodes like this, as well as retweet stuff and, troll people and things like that as hackers do, even though we don't endorse like direct harassing of people who don't deserve it. Hold on a second. Let me just do another test send. Huh, that's weird. Okay, so there's a weird test authenticator fail for some reason, so I'll just do everything like this. Hang on. All this sort of stuff never gets old, does it? So yeah, I'll just post this directly in here. Again, that's our website. And for everyone in chat, again, we're on. You can follow us on Twitter. It's just like our big main social media, I guess you could say, at DEFCON201NJ. I'm sorry, I'm all bamboozled right now because I have to go check something. And we're also on Instagram. Thankfully, not LinkedIn. Hostux.social. on Mastodon stuff. So if you want to follow us there, we have a super long list. We just post that list as a link tree in our chat, and I'm going to do it again because there's a weird disconnect right now between us and Twitch, even though our Twitch is perfectly functioning, working, like no one's gotten banned or anything. So I have to do some investigating. Check that out. So as our co-founder decides to hibernate for the winter, we're going to go raid this awesome hacker. I hope you say hi to them. And yeah, that was our show. Again, if you like, share, subscribe, not only do you get shout outs, but you'll get notifications for our next episodes come up. You will probably see me on, you'll definitely see me on the 19th, that I think at 6 p.m. That will be our that was last year. 4-year anniversary, because we started off back in March of 2017, which felt like 8 million years ago because I have more gray hairs here now. Our next Crypto Barons will be, we're on the second and third Saturday every month, so that will be March 27th. And I'll put it this way, I've been working on something. They've agreed to do this. I just have to get the nuts and bolts of it. And basically, we're going to look at digital currency before it got cool and before it was cryptocurrency, including a project that seems like it's cryptocurrency, but it's not. And we're going to compare and contrast it to current cryptocurrency and blockchain systems to see where's the differences, how it's improved, and what blockchain, this is a tongue twister, blockchain tech can learn from this open source FOSS project. Cool. So I hope to see you, whether it's on the 27th for Crypto Barons or on the 19th for our 4-year anniversary. We're going to go now raid this awesome hacker. Again, if you want to check us out, we are at defcon21.org. Stay tuned not only for the person we're raiding on Twitch, but also, oh boy, I just did the wrong thing. I just typed in the wrong command there. We don't want that. We want this. That's what we want because I are the doofus. So yeah, there we go. Now we're going to properly do this, and hopefully not too many people flew away. So I hope you go check that out there on Twitch. I hope to see you on the next Crypto Barons, where we're going to cover blockchain technologies. Our next one's on the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will actually make it on time this time, and I hope to see you at our 4-year anniversary this March 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hack the Planet, Dirty Jersey Represent, and JavaScript is still hard to work with. Why does everyone keep making blockchain stuff out of JavaScript? I know it interfaces with a lot of web stuff and Web 3.0, but you're driving us crazy. This is why we can't get anything to work on Crypto Barons besides the fact that we're an idiot. Hope you learned everything at NTFs. Peace, be safe, wear a mask, all that jazz. See you next time. Enjoy the music. Say hi to the fellow hacker we're about to raid on Twitch.